Listen to that standing ovation. There's a clapping sound that I can hit now. Let me hit that clapping sound. There we go. There we go. That's what's up. This is her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. Yeah. And I'm here live in the studio with the man, the myth, the legend, the man that we pray for. Sugar Booger is in the house with us today.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I am the man.
But wait, did you hear that I said you're the one that we prayed for?
Yeah, what were you praying for me? Like, was I stuck in a well?
No, baby Jessica. No, baby Suge. So why did I hit one of my coworkers to baby Jessica? She had never heard of the story before. And I'm like, baby Jessica was a phenomenon. Yes. I remember that night that they got her out of the tube because, like, I thought she, you know, when they say well, I'm thinking she stuck down where they put buckets at.
Like
and
a
stuff
wishing
like that.
well.
Yeah, exactly. But this, you know, obviously, you know, captivated the country, and they finally got her out, you know. And baby Jessica's doing fine now. Obviously, she's a grown woman and, you know, has her own children and stuff like that, you know. But it was must-see TV because at that time I was at home. Like, you know, I might have been like 10 years old or something. Right. You know, so I wasn't doing nothing on Friday. All I had to do was, you know, watch baby Jessica. So Suge is not baby Jessica. But how you doing, man? What's going on with you?
Man, I'm great. Today I had one of those, another one of those weird experiences that I'm getting used to now, where I went to my son's college orientation, freshman orientation day today at the Lake Erie College in Painesville, Ohio. And it was an interesting thing. He got his schedule today. He knows what class he's taking.
Really?
Yeah, it was real. It was real.
Yeah.
Very. You know what's funny? They don't let them pick their classes. When you're a freshman, they just tell you, here's your classes, here's your schedule. And you go.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's it. Your first round of classes are like, here you go. And his classes, it's so weird. He's a psychology major. But one of the things that they're really into is making you take diverse classes, like different classes. So he's got an intro to psych class. Okay. He's got an American government class. That's a prereq. But then he's got a space travel class where he learns about like space travel, like astronauts and trips that we've had in space and things. And then he's got another class that's an art appreciation class. And they try to get them to take different things that they might not pick themselves to find out if there's something they might be interested in they didn't think they were interested in. It's really cool. It's a cool college.
So space travel. So that is a trap class because like a trap game. Those are one of those classes that you think
like a layup.
And the teacher makes it purposely hard on purpose. I had a class like that called Avoiding Cancer in Ohio State. It was a 1-credit gym class. And literally we were having study sessions because a lot of us bombed the midterm that we had to take in order to pass a class. You know, you had to pass that final. So we're having a study session for a 1-credit class, a gym class called Avoiding Cancer. And one of the most significant things I learned in that class was if you eat a lot of grilled meat, it's not really good for you because of the carcinogen. So I try to limit my grilled intake. But I mean, most of us don't barbecue year round here where you can see that you live out west where the weather is nicer, you know. So limit your intake of grilled food, but it's just so much better on the grill.
Speaking of bombing, a little segue here. The Cavs, the NBA dropped a bomb and gave the Cavs the 3rd pick in the NBA draft. But I dare say you seem a little frustrated.
What do we have to do to get the number 1 pick again? We're one of the worst teams consistently when LeBron James is here, and we cannot get the number 1 pick. I hate the lottery system. It needs to be done and over with. You need to go by schedule like every other league.
We are Cavs privileged. We had 3 number 1 picks.
I know, and basketball Jesus is like, I did y'all a solid. I'm out of favors.
It wasn't my fault you picked old boy from UNLV.
Right.
Lord's like, wasn't my fault.
So we deserve a 1 off of that.
No,
we made a mistake.
We don't ever deserve the number 1 pick again after that.
Yeah, we do.
We don't ever deserve it again.
Dude, we in basketball purgatory, man. We cannot. This team cannot continue to exist in the manner that it is.
But we're not the only team that's in that position.
I don't care about the other teams. I'm talking about my team.
Like you look at Detroit, they're the same way. But Detroit has gotten some good free agents along the way and has botched it, you know, too. So I don't know, man. I just look at it and I think the Cavs with that number 3 pick. Think about lately how many number 3, 4, 8, 10 picks have been better than the number 1 pick in their draft. That's the other thing you got to look at. There's a lot of years where that number one pick isn't as good as the guy picked 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as long as you're getting a top 5 pick in the NBA, I think it's a pick 'em most years. The NBA draft has not been producing unbelievable talent year after year at that number one pick. It seems like every year for a while that number one pick was a guarantee to get your franchise turned around. That hasn't been the case over the last several years. So I'm not that concerned about number one versus number 3. I think they're still going to be in good shape. I would like to see them get the kid from USC.
Evan Mobley.
I think Mobley is great. I think he's really good. But a lot of people like what's his name? Jalen Suggs too.
Yeah, so it could be a toss-up. The Cavs do like the position that they are in because they said that they might be open to doing something with that pick. So I look at like you need to change the franchise, but you also have to be open to options as well. You talked about Detroit and free agents. We haven't been able to land, quality free agents. Nobody wants to come here. We struggle with that with LeBron. So unfortunately, this team has to be built through the draft. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to sit up here and start trading picks because remember, for a long time when we had LeBron, we didn't have draft picks.
Right.
I mean, we would have been drafting, last, second to last, but we didn't have those assets. Right. And you can't do it. You have the issue with Kevin Love. You can't do much because of that bad contract that you have. So
what would you rather do? Do you want them to pick a player or do you want them to make a package and go get a trade or pick somebody up that way? Would you rather have a young player or would you rather have that veteran that could come in and maybe build around?
Young player. I mean, you've already went wrong. Young, just continue to do so. And then depending on how this team does, because something is going to probably happen with Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
So, yes, you go young again and see how it works. And then you know what you can do after you see how this core works out. Because we talked about this before, people have been saying you could have built around KPJ. You can't build around Colin. But KPJ is a piece that you could build upon, but unfortunately, he's not here anymore.
What could you get if you took Sexton and packaged him with that number 3 and put that together and got out there? I mean, I would think you'd get some pretty high-level talent in a trade for Sexton and a 3, and you're going to have to do something with Sexton anyways. So to me, here's the problem with rookies in the NBA, though, too. Here's what happens when you go that route and you don't have really any other pieces. And right now, we don't have a lot of pieces. We got a couple guys. You get a rookie, they're going to be here for 5 years probably? You get that initial contract, 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
It takes them that long to figure out how to put their socks on. You know what I mean? And then by the time we get that rookie ready to play, all we've done has been a minor league feeder for another team, and we've got him ready to be a pro talent, and we send him somewhere else, and we watch him blossom and develop.
That's the Cleveland Indians.
Right. So my thinking is if we could get Sexton and that pick, send that out, get a good free trade, get somebody to come in, we're probably going to get a pick the next year that's going to be high too. And then we bring in that rookie to play with a veteran and a couple guys. And I think you're on a 2 or 3 year track to build up. But I think as long as you've got Sexton, who is a valuable chip in the league, people want Sexton. If you've got him to play with and you put him and that 3 together, I think there's a lot of GMs around the league that are going to listen to you.
I just wonder why nobody wants Colin Sexton, why they're so eager to part ways. Well, no, I wouldn't say eager, but why would they look to part ways with someone who's so talented?
Because I think the experiment in that backcourt that isn't working. And if you have to pick one or the other, he's a great player. But again, who do you build around? Who's easier to build around?
I don't consider Darius as somebody who could be built around.
You don't think so?
Darius Garland? No, I don't think so.
You don't think he's more of a true point guard than Sexton?
I mean, he's just not that exciting to me. He's blah.
Okay.
And that's why I don't feel like you could build a franchise. I don't think that he would be star. I think he'd be serviceable.
I kind of like my point guards to be blah. I just want my point guards to come down, score when you need to, distribute the ball, set up the offense.
I need him to score more.
And I think he can, but he can't if Sexton's there because they do the same thing. They both have to be on the ball. So it's the same guy. So that's what you run into when Harden and Irving are on the floor together in Brooklyn. That's what made that tough. And they learned how to do it because one of them had to switch and be a 2 guard each game. And I don't know that Sexton and Garland determined who that was going to be. So I think if you get Garland out and if you get Sexton out, let Garland spread his wings a little bit, I think you'll see a different player.
But why can't you have Garland be the point and Colin be the shooting?
Because I don't think they want to do that.
So you think Darius is a shooting guard?
And Garland isn't a true 2 either. Like, he's that tweener 1, kind of like Steph Curry is, where he needs to be on the ball, be able to move around, and then be able to distribute when he needs to. You can't have 2 guys playing that ISO ball on the wing like that the whole game. They never get into anything if they do that. So, and if you look at the playoffs this year, it's been a return to traditional point guard play.
Yeah.
Traditional point guards have gotten these teams where they're at. And honestly, team ball has gotten them where they're at again. The NBA doesn't look the same. The way these teams play that are in there now, when you look at Phoenix, when you look at Milwaukee, Clippers are a little bit of a different breed because they've got some star power with Kawhi and George. But most of these teams that are left in the playoffs, they've gotten there by being more of a team-oriented concept. The Jazz is a great example, what they did this season. So,
yeah, but it didn't work.
No, but the teams that beat them played the same way.
Yeah.
I really feel like they're starting to get away from some of that isolation offense.
ISO game. Do you pay attention to DJ Michi at all?
No.
Oh, God, his videos are the best.
Yeah.
So he came up with this ISO game for Kevin Durant because he called Kevin Durant the snake, and Kyrie and James Harden.
Yeah.
And I got to show it to you, man. The ISO game. And
that's funny.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious, actually. You got to check him out, man. He has the best voiceovers whatsoever, I think, in basketball. They're some of the best.
Do you remember me talking with you last week about Kevin Durant? And I said, if they lose, no matter how well he does, they're going to start talking about he can't get it done anywhere.
Oh, well,
the world fell apart.
Have they started? I really haven't heard that though. But didn't I say that if Kyrie didn't play, that they could possibly lose as well? I said
but
that
everybody knew there was a chance, but everybody is like.
But who really thought it was going to happen? I mean, who really thought that the Milwaukee Bucks was going to beat the Nets?
Nobody.
I didn't either. But I said that there was a chance, and then I said Atlanta could beat Philly. I said that could happen.
Way to go out on a limb. They could. Wow. You really. That could happen. Yes, it could.
Shut up, because it wasn't a hard bet. I mean, my confidence might have been a little shaky in my prediction, but I felt like it was possible, and I'm just like, everybody's beating up on Ben Simmons, and I'm like, you're taking away from what Atlanta did as well. Like,
right. And Trae Young. I mean, you found another superstar.
And that's the thing.
Him and Devin Booker.
Ice water.
Him and Devin Booker have stepped up in these playoffs and become, I was thinking about this on the way in, Rachel. We can talk about it maybe when we come back or get into something else, but we've been so long with Steph and LeBron in the finals year after year after year, and it's been the same cast of characters. It's been a couple teams and a bunch of nobodies. All of a sudden, those guys are out, and now somebody had to step up and be the new star, and it's almost like the NCAA. How it's the teams you never heard of and the stars you never
survive in advance, baby.
The stars,
one game at a time.
Like the small college stars that you like when Steph Curry was at Davidson, you hadn't seen him before, and then all of a sudden he's in the tournament. You're like, who's that guy?
What was the school that beat Ohio State this year?
Oh gosh,
yeah,
I've erased it from my
Dan Tulsa, Oral Roberts, Sienna. I had to Google where Sienna was. We didn't know.
Right. But now you've got Trae Young and Booker, and you're like, wow, who are these? Like, a lot of people haven't seen them before. So I think it's really good for the league to be able to get the spotlight on these players. And I think you're looking at 2 guys right there that are going to be legitimately in the conversation going forward as maybe some of the best. And we'll get a chance, as we come back from the break, I want to touch on this. We're going to get a chance to see Devin Booker play for the Olympic team. But you know what? There's another guy on that team.
We'll talk about it. We're going to break right now. We're going to break. We're going to be right back. This is Her in the Huddle, WOVU at 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
I was so mad when I saw that.
I'm like, everything he's doing is done on purpose. I think he scored those points against Boston that night to fuck us over. Because when he scored those 30 points against Boston, that took us out of contention for getting number one.
Yep.
Our odds are a lot closer.
Yeah.
That motherfucker scored 30 fucking points.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think
Or
he
dropped
did
us
it.
down.
Like, it was 14% to
15%.
9. Yeah, like 9% to 14. I'm like,
I think everything he does is to set himself up for what he does after his career is over. To the mental health advocacy stuff. He's gonna write a book. He's gonna be on the talk show.
And he is using his ass.
Yo, Cleveland!
as,
I got COVID.
People are so sympathetic to him, and I don't get why. Like,
but black people ain't allowed to be mentally ill.
well, I say that all the time. Like, Kyrie does mental health stuff. Yeah, but Kyrie's so sweater, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because he's got a mental illness. Like, there's something up, but whenever Kyrie comes on and does something like that, people are like, oh, he's a cancer in the locker room. You know, he ain't no good. He's
United, a
no.
Burton Bell Car Community Radio Station. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the first
I don't
lady
give a fuck about nothing.
Woo!
What's up? This is Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. You're listening to Her in the Huddle with Sugar Booger and Rachel Hill. And you can always give us a call at 216-271-0959. You can always listen to us online at WOVU.org. And you also need to download that WOVU app so you can listen to your favorite personalities like myself and Sugar on the go. That way you can be anywhere listening to us. Welcome back. We were just talking a little bit NBA, and Suge said that some of the big dogs and went back to their dog houses with their tail tucked between their legs, and they are giving some of the young dogs, the puppies, their chance to shine in the spotlight. So who are you liking coming out of the Western Conference Finals? Now you got Kawhi. When does Kawhi come back? I need to check into that. But you got Kawhi, who is out.
I think him and Paul both come back next game, don't they?
I thought the protocol was going to be a little bit longer for Chris Paul.
I hope not. I want him to come back.
But
and I've never been a Chris Paul fan. I've never enjoyed Chris Paul.
I just never cared about him.
But man, but when he goes to a team, he makes teams better. He just hasn't gotten one over the hump.
He's the quiet star.
Yes.
Would you say he's superstar?
No, but I would also say he's the best true point guard in the league.
Okay.
It's just like we said, I like my point guards blah. I like him to play like him because he makes teams better. He made Phoenix better this year. He made Devin Booker better this year.
He makes every team better.
I like that. I want my point guard. The less I hear my point guard's name, the better. Because when you hear about a point guard, a lot of times you're hearing that they're turning the ball over. They're not, when your point guard gets ahead of themselves, makes turnovers, makes bad decisions, it doesn't bode well. So if my point guard wants to go in there and just be solid, give me, if you can give me 15 points and 10 assists, a couple steals a game, cool with that. No problem with that. I don't mind that at all. I don't need my point guard to throw up 35 points a game. I don't need that.
Yeah, so that first game, not necessarily a blowout or anything like that. Phoenix did surge late. Mm-hmm. Last night, my stream was messing up. So I did not see the final seconds. So I actually got to go and Google that. But yeah, so.
First of all, that shot at the end of the game was a clear goaltend. I can't believe
that's what I heard too.
They didn't call. And they reviewed it, and they sat there and reviewed it. And I'm like, oh, wait, I'm out, and that's phase. And you clearly see the ball in the cylinder. Like, there's no debate. So I was shocked. And what I said last night is the Suns won't get another call the rest of this playoff series. If they win, they're going to have to come by honest because they're going to get no love because the refs have some, what we call
being helped you one time.
Yeah, they got some Maybelline to put on because they got a makeup call.
Yeah, this is it. So, yeah. So the last I saw, LA was up by 1. I was like, okay. And it was like, 7 seconds left. I was like, okay, they got this game.
Yeah.
And then I think I fell asleep in between because, these games are starting late for us. So I fell asleep in between. I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh my God, Phoenix won. They were able to come back. So, that was a little bit crazy. So I got to watch that. But it'll be interesting to see the team dynamics with them going back to LA. See, I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think LA will be able to pull out those two.
Oh, I think it's going to go 7 games.
Yeah, whoever is able to steal one on somebody's home court. And the Clippers were close last night. They almost did it.
This is the way the NBA playoffs go.
And I'm fine with
playoffs. A lot of times, the first 2 games looks like, oh, that team's really solid.
Yeah.
In control now, and then they have to go somewhere else and play.
New Jersey Nets looking at you.
Right.
Milwaukee
100%.
came and stole that game in New Jersey, so that was important. And then you pushed Kevin Durant to the max. You got this dude scoring almost 50 points a game and not winning. And then you see, that final shot. I'm like, he was just gassed. But I'm sorry. I'm happy that the Nets lost.
He pulled up and thought he was going to get that foul call. They're not calling a foul on you at the end of the game like that. You're not going to get that call. If you're banking on getting fouled on that shot, which is what he did, you could see him lean in a little bit. You're not going to get that call. He knows better than that. That was it. But back to teams that are still playing.
Yeah. But it feels good Kevin Durant is gone.
I look at Phoenix and the Clippers in that series, and I really have started to root for Phoenix. I really started to like watching him. I like Devin Booker a lot. I like watching Kawhi play. I've never been a Paul George guy. But I also kind of feel bad for Paul George because teams don't win that he's on, and they always blame him. And I feel like it's not always his fault.
Where was he at before he came to L.A.?
He was with OKC.
Oh, okay. That's right. He did for a little bit.
But I feel like even though they've got 2 superstar players, Kawhi is a weird superstar to me. Because people talk about him
his
like,
weird laugh.
Yeah, oh my God. When he laughs, when he's not looking like he wants to kill somebody. But Kawhi is a guy who, he won a couple championships. They started talking about him like he was great, and then it just stopped. Like people don't talk about Kawhi.
Something happened with him and Pop. I'd be interested to know what happened between him and Pop because they say Kawhi is very quiet superstar. Mm-hmm. They said that this dude, it was like maybe 2000. Like when did he come on the scene? Talking about he drove like a 1996 Chevy Suburban and wouldn't buy a new car. Yeah. So very quiet superstar. Something had to happen between him and Pop. I don't know what caused it to make him want out of San Antonio. Pop don't pull no punches. I don't ask questions of Pop when Pop in town because I don't want to get dogged out. But you got to be very careful with him. He's very ornery. But I don't know what happened.
If Kawhi wins a championship with this team,
mid-13,
and he did it in San Antonio, and he did it with the Raptors, and then he did, and the Raptors weren't great till he got there.
Nope.
And this team was on the verge, but if he takes them, they're like, you've got to start talking about Kawhi as one of the greats in the game because he took teams to championships and did that.
LeBron did it too, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. LeBron's done the same thing, but he doesn't get love because he played with other good players or whatever. But Kawhi's got Paul George. That's the way the league is. But so for me, I would really like to see Phoenix do it just because I would like to see them. I'd like to see them avenge Charles Barkley's shadow too, because they had those teams that were really good, but they ran into Michael Jordan and couldn't get it done. So Phoenix kind of deserves some love too.
I struggle with this because for a long time they wouldn't celebrate Martin Luther King Day. It was not a holiday there. So
I agree.
They do celebrate Martin Luther King Day, but for the longest time they didn't.
Screw it.
So partially I was against them because of that. I'm like, I don't know if I can really root for y'all because they was the last state.
By the time I get to Arizona.
Right. The dream wasn't there. And then, they don't recognize daylight savings time. I'm like, Arizona just out here doing the most right now.
Sheriff
Joe. And I would. Thank you for bringing that up too. So for me, isn't that crazy how my fandom lies?
Yeah.
I don't have a horse in the race. I really don't want LA winning because LA has multiple titles and multiple sports. So I just want them to be good games. Kind of really don't care. I'm pulling for Phoenix a little bit more, but I have a lot of things against Phoenix that I don't like. But I don't need LA to win another. But everybody talk about the Clippers so bad and dog them. I wouldn't mind the Clippers having a day against. And then these LA fans, like especially Lakers fans, they're like, I ain't rooting for the Clippers. What is wrong with you?
Right.
Like you have another team that, what I'm saying? I'm like, why wouldn't you root for the other team that's there? That's because when the Browns are done, I root for the Bengals. When the Indians are done, I root for the Reds.
Although when Ohio State's done, I don't root for Michigan.
What?
I don't root for Michigan.
Absolutely not. Never. Never. I don't root for Michigan in anything ever. People are like, well, push part of the Big Ten. Why don't you root for Juwan Howard? He black. I don't care. It's still Michigan. I don't care if he black or not. It's still Michigan.
Wow.
I don't care about that. No.
So let me ask you this then. You go over to the East and you've got Milwaukee and Atlanta.
Yay.
On paper, not a lot of sizzle on that state. Like
which state though?
That series doesn't get me excited.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be exciting.
No,
but with Giannis and Trey, I think that is going to be that butter on that steak for you.
Yeah, but
I think that's what makes it exciting.
I
know, but that's okay because that's the thing. But they will have to go against each other a couple times.
I feel like maybe the bubble's going to burst on Atlanta. I think they've had a great run. I think Trey has carried them, and he's come into his own, and that's great. But at some point, teams like that have rallied around a guy that's kind of carried them through, at some point, they hit that wall.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's hard to get over that hump. I kind of feel like Milwaukee is a team of destiny.
And that's the thing, because they've lost so early so many times. Right. They haven't been able to make it past that hurdle. They got past New Jersey. Now the sky's the limit for them. And I feel like the same way like you do with Atlanta. That's a great point. Trey Young is only going to be able to take this Atlanta team so far, where you have this Milwaukee team that is extra seasoned, and they're just waiting for their time to burst. I mean, with PJ Tucker and, Chris Middleton and that supporting cast for Milwaukee for Giannis Antetokounmpo, they'll be able to get it done, I think.
I think so, too. And I tell you what, when I was watching them beat the Nets, and they're showing the people gathered in Milwaukee outside of the arena.
Oh yeah, that's like us.
That's exactly what I thought. And I was like, and I've never been to Milwaukee.
No, I've never been.
Milwaukee feels exactly like Cleveland. Yeah. They've got the breweries. It's the same type of people. It's the same type of food. It's the same culture. By their stadium, it feels like, the corridor.
It's like a sister city.
It really is.
Yeah.
So I have some sort of connection with that city.
No, you don't. Just because you've been there, you don't have no connection to them.
No, I'm just saying.
This ain't Laverne and Shirley.
I feel them. Like, I feel a connection to them because they feel like us. Like, I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's another Midwestern city that doesn't have a lot going on outside of sports sometimes.
But it's the most segregated city in America as well.
And we're the third most segregated city.
Yeah, it's the most segregated city in America.
We are up there on that list too.
Unfortunately, twinsies. First of all, did you ever mix Pepsi and milk together like Laverne and Shirley?
I haven't. But then I've thought about this over the years many times, and maybe we should do that on the show one time.
First of all, I used to do it as a kid. It was delicious. I haven't did it as an adult. It was delicious.
Like a root beer float.
It was delicious. I haven't did it in over 30 years. It was delicious.
I'm with it.
I used to drink it faithfully. But the thing is, I drink skim milk now, so this was whole milk and Pepsi together. So I don't know how it's going to taste with the skim. I don't know.
I'm gonna bring in some whole milk and some Pepsi next week.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to drink the whole milk though.
Okay, don't. Grandma.
Things have changed.
Rubble.
Well, it's a huge difference though. When you go from drinking, whole to skim,
right?
The fat, like literally,
that's like when I go from a Bud Light to a Budweiser. It gets
shut up. It's like drinking water and then honey. So it's tough. But I might be down to drink it with you. But
Pepsi might dissipate.
Milk and Pepsi was awesome, first of all. Okay. So your prediction coming out of the Eastern Conference is going to be Milwaukee.
I'm going Milwaukee.
Okay.
And I'm going. Let's say Milwaukee and the Clippers.
Oh, Milwaukee.
I think the Clippers are going to come back. I think Kawhi's going to come back in, and it's going to come down to. I don't know how long Chris Paul is out. I'm trying to find out. I'm not sure how long he's out, but I just have a feeling that the Clippers are going to go. I kind of have a feeling the Clippers are going to win it all this year. I want Milwaukee to win it. I kind of have a feeling the Clippers are going to come back and win it, and it's just going to be because the NBA at the end of the day, they don't like these off-market teams winning.
But I feel more connected. I feel more connected with Atlanta being there, Milwaukee, and Phoenix, as opposed to, the LA Lakers and the Boston Celtics, the Golden State Warriors. But I hope all these teams know y'all ain't going to be there next year.
I know.
Put you on notice because guess what? Golden State's coming back.
LeBron's coming back.
And Kyrie, give or take, I don't know.
Kyrie's coming back.
Yeah, LeBron, I don't know what the Lakers are going to be able to do because the Lakers are trying to suck. Like, their surrounding cast kind of sucks. Well, so the Lakers are going to have to retool.
I heard they're going to give AD the skeleton treatment like Wolverine and make it out of metal so he doesn't get hurt every game.
That's LeBron.
So real quick before we go to the break, too, what Trae Young has done, though, Atlanta is a very large market that never has a good basketball team. Trae Young's got him into finals. They might become an attractive free agency spot, which they haven't been in a while. Atlanta can build off this, and that's a team that, unlike Cleveland and Milwaukee and some of these other teams that are small markets, Atlanta is a big market. They are a big TV market, and they can do something if they can get out here and get some wins. So, that's a team that might be able to be around.
Hollywood of the South. So we are going to take a break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Attention, Cleveland residents. The time is now. Get to know your candidates for mayor at tomorrow's Cleveland Mayoral Candidate Forum, presented by Case Western Reserve Law School and the Cleveland Community Police Commission, broadcasting live tomorrow at 6 p.m. on WOVU 95.9 FM. You can also join on Zoom by registering with the link on the WOVU Facebook page. This forum will focus on all things police reform, police interaction,
I don't really have anything on that, but we can talk about that
and more tomorrow. Live
talk about
at
that
6
Kevin
p.m.
Love thing.
Hear from who could be your next
See,
mayor
Alex
of
Caruso
Cleveland
got popped for
and their
weed.
views on the police. This
see that.
event is brought to you by Case Western Reserve
There you
Law
go.
School, the
Give your
Cleveland
thoughts
Community
about
Police
Kevin Love right
Commission,
quick, and
and
then we will track and
WOVU
field.
95.9 FM. Our voices
And then we
united.
can move to
a
Major League
Burtonville
Baseball
Car
because
community radio station.
Aaron Savali is going to be out.
Are you or
Almost like a
someone
month.
you know in need of
Who-
help? Here's
Aaron
a resource
Savali, you know he
can
left
turn
the
to.
game.
The Thea Bowman Center has
He
been
left the
serving
game the other
community
night.
for over 50 years
I don't
and
know who that
provides
is.
Aaron
services to
Savali,
help support
the pitcher
Mount
for the
Pleasant and
Indians.
surrounding
Oh,
communities.
I
The
thought
one
you
that
were
was
talking
doing
about
really
Programs
good.
include adult education, like
I thought you were
GED,
still talking about
computer
track and
classes,
field. I'm like,
food
oh,
Nah.
pantry, senior outreach, youth after
So
school,
4 to 5 weeks.
finger springs. Yeah.
4 to 5 weeks
Are
out.
you a
So
Cleveland
all of our
resident
starting
in need
pitching
of
is
a
out.
GED preparation, a food pantry, youth or
Yeah.
senior programs?
So if Tito
Call the Thea
pulls
Bowman
out, if he
Center
goes
at
500 this stretch, because they got the Houston Astros coming up,
or visit TheaBowmanCenter.org. Call the Thea Bowman Center at
and they got who else?
216-491-0669 or visit
They have the
TheaBowmanCenter.org
Astros, and then
to
they got the
register
Rays,
today.
the Royals.
Yeah, the
the
Rays.
A's.
Is brought to you
Yeah,
by the
and
Thea
A's,
Bowman Center
they got a
and
gauntlet coming
WOVU
up right now.
95.9
That's a tough
FM.
stretch.
Hell
Our
yeah.
voices united.
It's not good.
Burtonville Car community radio station.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. It's your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. I'm sitting up here with Sugar Booger. I didn't use your government name one time.
Look at you go.
I know, I'm doing a better job.
Look at God.
I'm doing really good. You
Yes,
know,
you are.
I'm doing good behind these boards. I forgot to
Yeah.
record the show.
Oh, you've been.
But
Other than
other
that,
than that, I've been good. I've been
you have
doing
been
good.
going at it.
Yeah, I'm very proud of myself. This is awesome. You know, I love it. I'm like, in a second, you're going to see me DJing. I'm going to be like,
It sounds
I'm going to be
like
better than DJ Cristal.
it sounds like you're in a good place mentally,
Yeah, I'm in a good place mentally. I don't feel nothing. I don't feel no emotions.
reminding me of another person who's getting himself in a good place mentally, Kevin Love, who's doing so by, after not playing for basically the entire season for the Cavs,
Yeah.
until he came in and ruined our draft lottery status at the end of the season with his outburst in Boston where he scored points. He's decided that the best thing for him to do after not playing this entire season is to join the Team USA roster and go play in the Olympics.
Yeah, go play in Tokyo. So he's perfectly healthy now. Perfectly
Right.
healthy.
Totally good.
Not a thing wrong with him.
He's in a good space now.
Yeah.
I hate it. I think that Kevin Love. Now you think he's disingenuous. I'm not sure I'm ready to say that about Kevin Love, but I do think that he uses that mental health umbrella, takes advantage of the relationship that he's forged through that and the image that he's forged through that to pick and choose when he's going to do something. And when he doesn't want to do it, it's mental health and it's taxing and it's too hard.
And we go,
When he wants to do something like play for Team USA, well, that's positive for his mental health, and that's part of his growth and his discovery. When Kyrie does the same thing, he's a nut job, he's a flat earther, he's a cancer in the locker room. That's totally different
he's
than Kevin Love.
crazy.
He's angry black man.
Mhm.
And that's what's really, if Kevin Love really cares about mental health, he needs to start standing up for the other players and having conversations in their defense, which I also never hear him do. I don't know if I just miss it, but when
you've never heard it.
When
He's
people
never
were
done
beating
it.
up on Kyrie early this
He's
year,
never done it.
I didn't hear Kevin Love jumping up to say, "Hey, don't say that."
And he's probably not going to.
He's not.
Why would he want to dispense sympathy when he can get it all?
He can get it.
He can be the face of the NBA when it
Right.
comes to mental health.
Right.
Can't let it be a black person, even though the league is comprised of over 90% of black individuals. Can't be a black person that's a face of mental health for the league.
So I look at that situation and I think that it's almost borderline disrespectful to the organization for him to go play in that.
It absolutely is, because at this point he's doing things on purpose.
Do you think he retires after the Olympics?
No. To me, Kevin Love is in it for the celebrity of it all.
I don't think he wants to be in it.
He don't have to do it. Your uncle's a beach boy. You come from money. Didn't his dad play in the league? You're good. That's like Johnny Manziel. You were just doing this because it was fun. You didn't have to
rich
do it.
uncles.
You come from oil money. That's long paper.
I got rich uncles. I ain't got no money.
Huh? Well, you ain't doing stuff right. When the system is set up for you to succeed,
I'm saying
you didn't take advantage of everything. Don't be mad because you're mediocre.
Nah, not true.
I love you.
I think that he's had more opportunities. I don't know this because his uncle's a beach boy. People always pointed that. I think it's
which one, Johnny?
Kevin Love.
Oh,
I think we've got white privilege. We're always going to have that, but I don't know that he's got beach boy privilege. I don't think he's got
but yeah, I'm pretty famous though.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people with famous uncles that aren't anything.
But if he wanted to take advantage of that, he could.
Possibly.
Because I would be. I figure it out.
Possibly.
You know what I'm saying? But his dad played in the league too. So
but
Kevin Love never hurt for money.
Kevin Love is right. That's true. I think that Kevin Love is setting up to do podcasts or a TV
modeling,
show
GQ,
or something in that mental health field where he's going to be a spokesperson for something.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a great career. And he's probably going to do a lot of good things for people. I think he'll end up doing that. But I wish he would just go do that.
Yeah, and stop hamstringing the Cleveland Cavaliers because it's a dead contract that continues to haunt this team. He signed it too. You don't want to be here, but you signed that contract. So part of that, or the majority of that, falls on you.
Auto factory with a hard hat on, talking about he loves Cleveland because they're hardworking, and I'm going to go do this.
He loves the checks he cashed, but that was on him. Nobody forced you to sign those papers.
He and Tristan both, those contracts that he and Tristan had, are really
Highway
the reason
robbery.
why we are where we are right now. That's the reason. I was looking at that Team USA roster real quick. Not exactly a roster. I don't know if they win.
Somebody, like one of our Team USA's just lost a game to somebody too.
Yeah.
Like the men's team.
The guards. Dame Lillard.
Okay. Dame time.
Dame's dope.
Dame time.
Bradley Beal, who I like sometimes. Sometimes I think he's a little overrated. Devin Booker, phenomenal. Zach LaVine, he's all right. Drew Holiday, all right, not horrible, not great. Forwards, though, Durant, Tatum, Draymond Green, Chris Middleton, Jeremy Grant, Kevin Love. So the top end of that looked really good. The bottom end, not so much.
The bottom
and then they
out.
got Bam Adebayo as the center, and he is what he is. So I don't look at that team and go, wow, that's an unstoppable team.
I don't look at that and say that's a gold medal team.
No. No Trae Young.
Who's coaching? Is Coach K coaching again? That vampire?
I thought Coach K retired.
No, he one more season.
I don't know who's coaching. I'm looking at it right now.
Because he had been an Olympic coach all these years.
Yeah, I don't. He might be.
That old vampire is going to sleep.
Greg Popovich is making his Olympic debut as head coach after taking over the program from Krzyzewski.
Okay.
His first run leading Team USA did not go as planned, with the U.S. losing in the quarterfinals of the 2019 World Cup. It was the worst performance at a World Cup in United States history. So he's got that going for him. Not exactly what you want to hear as you're heading in to the Olympics. But, I really I'm not that excited about that team, and I don't think they're going to win a gold medal.
That's sad and that's tragic, But you know, it is what it is. But you know, if anything, they want to start assembling some dream type teams. But let's move on to baseball. Huge update today. This is terrible. Aaron Savali, he was examined this morning by Dr. Thomas Graham in Dayton, Ohio, and underwent an MRI. He was diagnosed with a right third finger sprain, middle finger. He could put it up. Exactly. Thank you, Suge. I love you too. He will be shut down from throwing for 1 to 2 weeks and expected to miss between 4 to 5 weeks of game activity. And that was came out earlier today, not too long before the show. So this is a devastating blow because all of our starting pitchers are not starting pitchers anymore. So what will we ever do with our starting pitching? Which was the strain? Which was the strain?
Well, you know, and they've got, like, we were just looking at the schedule, Rach, when we were on break. We were kind of looking through, kind of looking ahead. They have got a stretch now where they head to Minnesota.
Yep.
They come home against the Tigers.
Yep.
They are home against the Astros.
Yep.
And then they go to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Home against the Royals, at the A's, at the Astros, home rate. I mean, they've got those teams that they're playing in succession right there that are all tough outs. And it's at a time when you're vulnerable. So I don't know how to, like, I think you made a great take. If Tito can get through this stretch 500, I don't think we'll lose a lot of ground in the standings.
Because you're 2 games out.
Yeah.
The division.
Yeah, close. And you've got a 7. What are you, 7 ahead of third place? I think the Royals are 7 behind us, right?
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit to work with, and they've got those games against Kansas City where Kansas City's licking their chops saying we can make up some ground, but the Tribe's licking their chops saying, hey, we can stretch this thing out. I think this is when we see what Tito's worth because I know you know, might not be your favorite interview.
My best friend.
Might not be your favorite interview, but I think that we know that he's a good manager and he's going to earn his paycheck.
It's my best friend.
Tito hasn't missed any time this year.
Yeah, he the main one missing time. So that's good that he has been in great health because he's had some health issues and scares the past few years. And Sandy Alomar has stepped in and kept the ship going. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so instead of him being having issues, it's his pitching staff that's had issues. So we traded one for the other. God said, which one do you want?
Okay, you're going to have Tito. But I'm
exactly. We love him all year, but no starting pitching.
But this is what, you know what, though?
Keep the party going.
In baseball, teams get banged up, and when it rains,
but like this though, your whole rotation.
No major injuries though. No major ones.
It's bad enough.
Nobody's out for the season. Nobody's getting reconstructive surgery. They're just banged up a little bit. I think they're going to come out of this okay. And you never know who's waiting to step up. They just need a couple guys to step up, win a couple games, do a couple things, wake those bats up. And I think they're going to be okay. I really do. I've said this the whole year. They came out faster than I thought. I thought they were going to be slow out of the gates and then pick it up. But I still feel like this is a team that we haven't seen playing its best baseball yet. I don't think we've seen them play their best baseball.
I agree. I mean, when the bats come alive, that's, you know, it's like, it's hard to put in words. Eli Morgan did okay yesterday. Yeah. You know, he was serviceable. You know, he had a good 5 innings. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know who they have pitching. They're off tonight, thank God. So they're able to absorb the news that Aaron isn't going to be there. And Aaron had been one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. So last night, he went up against Kyle Hendricks. So they have like the same record now. Yeah. And Kyle Hendricks pitched a gem yesterday and shut down the Indians. So they weren't able to do much.
Every time I watch the Indians right now, I see somebody I've never seen before in my life.
Oh, yeah,
it seems like every game I'm like, who is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, where did he come from?
Exactly.
Like, so we're that team right now. And you know, when you're that team, when you don't know the faces that are out there, and wait till this pitching rotation comes back through. The next 2 weeks on this pitching rotation, we're gonna have a lot of guys on there we haven't seen before. They're gonna have to bring some people up to fill some roles. So it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to get their chance to shine.
Yeah, Tristan McKenzie might be one of those ones that you call back up. So
he's going to have to.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, you give that kid another shot, I think he shines. I think he's a competitor. I think that they got a little tape on him. his mechanics were off a little bit, and he's another guy that I think you give him another chance, he's not going to miss.
Yeah, I forgot who our number 5 starter was. I can't remember right now. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens after they get through this gauntlet of some of these teams, especially once they go against the Houston and Tampa Bay. Right now Tampa Bay is playing lights out, so that'd be a good measuring stick for them to see, where they're at. But there's not much we can do as far as pitching. As far as your starting pitching, that it's just unprecedented what we're going through. So this is a time when Jose Ramirez, okay, we need you to be that leader. Franmil Reyes is right now out down in Columbus. So he went 0 for 3 last night. But, it's a positive thing that, he is in rehab starts. So, that's a good thing. Zach Plesac is incremental, getting better. So that is good for this team. But right now, let's just put your seatbelt on and buckle up, because you just don't know what is going to be. Like Busta Rhymes said, what is going to be.
That Pittsburgh series now really makes you sick. Like, that was an opportunity to play a bad team.
The worst team in Major League Baseball.
Should have swept that series and wasted that opportunity. It would be nice to have that cushion now. Rachel, let's take a break.
All right. We'll be right back. This is Her in the Huddle, WOVU and 95.9 FM. Oh, it's 2 minutes, so you good.
Stuck in the house? Are you itching for some live music, food, and fun? If so, then join us as we kickstart summer with the return of the 15th Annual Ward 5 Community Festival, Saturday, June 26th, from 1 to 4 p.m. Brought to you by Councilwoman Dolores Gray, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Cuyahoga Arts and Culture, Cuyahoga Community College, and WOVU 95.9 FM. One event, 5 locations, where you can get your COVID-19 vaccine too. At the Friendly Inn Settlement House on 2382 Unwin Road, the Rainbow Terrace Learning Center at 7310 Carson Avenue, University Settlement at 4800 Broadway Avenue, Cedar Family Estates Pavilion at 2302 Central Avenue, or the Kayle Healing Garden Center at 2251 East 73rd Street. For more information, call 216-342-2742. 216-342-2742. Join us for live music, food, and fun as we kickstart summer at the 15th Annual Ward 5 Community Festival. One event, 5 locations, Saturday, June 26th, from 1 to 4 p.m. Ward 5 United, working together as one. This important message is brought to you by Councilwoman Dolores Gray, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Cuyahoga Arts and Culture, Cuyahoga Community College, and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station. See you there.
Hey, this is Crazy T. You're listening to 95.9 FM WOVU.
Which one you on?
Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
4, yeah.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady
That's
of
not the right one, I don't
Sports.
think. That's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll just pull it.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. And I am here with Sugar Booger. We in the house, and Sugar Booger. So right now, the Cleveland Indians, so did you get a chance to see some of this B-roll of Max Scherzer about to undress down to his skivvies because of this new pitching checking and checking of the balls and stuff like that?
Be careful how you phrase that in the context of.
I don't know what you're talking about. They're checking balls in Major League Baseball.
It was like
for cheating.
It was like a sweep last night. They were sweeping through the league last night, looking for anybody to arrest and convict of ball tampering last night. Interesting to see what was going on. And Max definitely had the play of the night. That was hilarious when he did that. I don't know, man. I like it when people cheat, and baseball, I think, has some of the most creative ways to cheat, so I'm not mad at it. If you want to throw someone on the ball, go for it.
But Aaron Boone sent asked for him to be checked 3 times.
Hilarious.
And that's what made Max Scherzer mad, because like this is the 3rd time. So then Max Scherzer is looking at Aaron Boone. So Aaron Boone looking back at him like, what's up? You want to go? And Aaron Boone ended up getting ejected. So Max Scherzer kind of won that little battle.
Yes, he
But
did.
what are your thoughts about this? Because I look at it like icing the kicker now. You want to disrupt these pitchers from their rhythm. So guess what? I'm asking for the officials to check you. Maybe it's a one-time check, and a lot of people are talking about this is terrible because baseball is deciding to do this mid-season instead of instituting it next year. So they haven't fully worked out how this policy is going to be the best for everybody.
I think it's going to be one of those things that Major League Baseball has to find out how they're going to handle it going forward. They have to come up with a strategy on how often you can do that. They're going to have to come up with something. You check a guy once, that should be it. But then if you check a guy once and he wants to cheat and he knows he's not going to be checked again, then he might cheat. So I don't know how you work out that, but they're going to have to come up with something to do with it. Nobody checks for pine tar 15 times a game anymore like they used to and things like that. I think it'll be a short-lived thing. I think this is going to be one of those things where it's a hot button thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do it for a couple weeks. And then they're going to be like, what we need to do is we need to start winning baseball games and playing the game and stop the nonsense, and they'll get past it.
Well,
but right now, it's hilarious.
They're going to look at these numbers and these analytics to see just how, what these pitchers are doing now compared. Because remember, we were having a record number of no-nos going into, the point that we're at right now. So hitting was down. So I guess they're going to look and see, hey, if we're cracking down on this cheating, will hitting be up so baseball can be exciting again? Because right now, pitching is dominating the major leagues. So that's going to be very interesting to see the numbers that they get back on that and whether or not other teams will be reporting people because, you can use it as a psychological tool when somebody's not cheating. But even one of the basic forms of sunscreen and rosin, that's a rosin bag at the mound, and a player wearing sunscreen, which you're supposed to do when you're outside, that was a basic form of cheating, and even that's not allowed. So I'm like, how do you really police this at the end of the day? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be very, very interesting to see how managers are going to use this and their managerial skills against the other team. But, if you're going to call out somebody's team, you better be prepared for the repercussions, and you better make sure that your team is on the up and up.
That's the way it always goes in baseball. It is the most vindictive, petty sport I think out there.
Man, I told y'all petty. Y'all don't listen to me. Y'all petty, y'all vindictive, and y'all talk about us. Remember, we got into this huge debate about this with Chris and them and all of them. Like, men ain't like that. Yeah, y'all are, as evidenced by this.
Baseball is full of Karens. There's a lot of Karens in baseball, I feel like.
Or Kyles or Kevins.
There's a lot of Kyles out there.
Kyles and Kevins
Did you see there's a new movie coming out called Karen?
I know, and people were mad about the trailer.
Hilarious.
But it's so true to life, though. This is like Black people's lives, though.
Right.
Which is...
It's a horror movie. It's also just what happens to Black people. Like that. Put that in some context.
Every day. This is our lived experience for people who don't understand. Yeah, she looks crazy, but they're like a movie that I'm going to stream live.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be going to the movie theater to see that.
No, you're not going to.
So, yeah, I'm going to be streaming that live. And one thing we didn't get to, Alex Caruso got picked up for Mary Jane possession in Texas. So he was not in Los Angeles. So when you try to take things across state lines, you need to know the state laws. And Texas is not a state in which marijuana use is legal in. So
I have a friend, true story, that was from Ohio that was traveling through Texas and had marijuana in the trunk of his car. And they detained him. He ended up going to jail. And then they told him he was not allowed to leave the state of Texas for 5 years after his incarceration. So, needless to say, he moved to Texas. And he has lived in Houston, Texas for 15 years now, maybe 20. He just moved. That was his life now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's a true story.
How can you mandate somebody stay in the state?
He had more than they got him with intent to distribute. So it was like dealing, and they said.
So he didn't have like a joint on him.
No, he had like a pack of marijuana. But they did, and they're.
But how do people know if you're going to distribute that or not? What's a pack?
Because over a certain amount is enough that they say if you have that much, you're going to sell it. You're not going to smoke it yourself. There's an amount that makes that determination. So he had an amount. Luckily, Caruso was under that amount, but he had an amount that put him with intent to distribute. They locked him up, I think, for about 1.5 years, and then he said you're on 5 years probation in the state of Texas, and you're not allowed to leave the state.
Wow.
And that became his life.
So he likes it there if he stayed and didn't leave.
He didn't have an option. By the time he was down there for 5 years, like he met his wife. And
yeah, that's after 5 years.
Like I said, that's his life now.
Yeah.
Like, whether he liked it or not, that was his life now.
I bet that's a great story to tell at parties.
Oh my gosh.
So you're from Ohio. What did you? How you end up here in Texas?
How'd you meet your wife?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't allowed to leave the state for 5 years. So yeah, but he's great now. He's doing great now.
Well, that's good.
He's made some great strides with his life. But that's just, you're right with Caruso. If you're going to be carrying things around, you got to know what the consequences are. And Texas is not a mess around state.
Yeah, man, it's a red state. Don't mess around. How your other friend doing?
The
one you had good times with.
Oh man, wonderful time. Yeah. Oh my God.
Funny, I don't remember them like that. But we only got 5 minutes left. What time do you want me to go till?
We got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Left. I wanted to give a shout out to the kid from the Raiders. Doggone it, that the first gay NFL.
Oh, Carl Nassib.
Nassib.
That was a Cleveland Brown.
Brown. Now everybody's saying he's the first openly gay active NFL player. But wasn't Sam?
No, he didn't make the roster.
He didn't make the roster. That's okay.
He didn't make the roster.
So Nassib, I just saw today, his jersey is now the #1 selling jersey in the NFL.
I saw that. I forgot to say something about that.
You know, the LGBTQ community.
But that's a whole new demographic to market to.
It is.
For the NFL.
Yeah, and they're going to.
It's opportunity.
It's just like what happened with Juneteenth last weekend. Their marketing Juneteenth going forward is going to be insane.
Hey, but they said the DMV was closed the next day because that law went into effect real quick.
Right.
So when you want something, real quick.
Right.
Because it was signed Friday, and the DMV was closed on Saturday.
It does feel like we skipped some steps.
Exactly.
Some other things need to get done before we approve Juneteenth.
But nah, straight no chaser.
But it's interesting, you're going to see, like, I had talked to some people about how do you celebrate Juneteenth? Like, should it be somber? Should it be celebratory? How are you going to celebrate it? And my overwhelming thought was, as a country, marketing people are going to tell us how to celebrate Juneteenth, because next year it's going to come around and they're going to have Juneteenth fireworks and they're going to have Juneteenth party packs and they're going to have Juneteenth napkins, and it's going to be like July 4th. They're going to start marketing because there's money to be made. That's what you're going to see the NFL start to do with LGBTQ community. And now that they've seen that that's marketable, that just like they did with Black Lives Matter when Colin Kaepernick, when he started selling jerseys after he was basically out of the league and it started to come back, then they said, well, maybe we need to start thinking, when Nike's stock went up, when they stood behind Kaepernick, that's when you saw the NFL say, well, we need to re-examine it. They are going to come back now and they're going to say, oh, there's money to be made from the gay community.
Oh, well, ton of money.
Welcome. We're going to have a rainbow.
Gay people like football too.
Right. They're like Rainbow Helmet Day for everybody. They're going to have rainbow. It's going to be like the breast cancer awareness. They're going to have rainbow tape on their arms and, and good for the LGBTQ community, but it's not really from a genuine space when you talk about the NFL. That's just not
what it's going to be. A rainbow through the inside.
Right, rainbow through the tunnel, and it's LGBTQ Awareness Day in the NFL. It's that's what they do.
But you can totally see them doing that, 100%. And that's the sad part about it, because you would have never did it had he not came out.
And then
it's all about making money.
All high school kids are gonna have socks just like they did with breast cancer awareness.
Oh
and then I wonder every year, how much money does the Breast Cancer Foundation make from the pink socks? Because I know the NFL is making a lot of coin, and I know Nike and Under Armour are making coin.
But the sad part, there's no money in the cure.
You think Major League Baseball will ever have a Juneteenth Major League Baseball day where they wear red, black, and green?
When I saw Black Lives Matter outside of Boston Stadium, because we all know how racist Boston is. I'm like, there is hope, but we have so far to go when it comes to.
You think they'll come out like the Red Sox will come out like the sheepies for a game? It's gonna look like Coming to America threw up on the field.
Kente Claw.
Yeah.
Kente Claw.
You got Tito coaching the team with a Kente Claw jersey on. Now I want to see that game. I want to see that weekend. Like they just did the Father's Day.
I just wanted to be genuine. I wanted to be genuine.
We're about 400 years too late for that, Rachel.
Make it genuine, man. That's all I
All right,
ask.
let's go. Radio silence tonight. We're coming right back around. We're going to be talking about communicating with your elder parents, having different conversations with your elderly parents, and some tips for getting through that. So it's a great conversation.
Yeah, and this is it for me, for Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. And you keep it locked here because we just going to switch seats and he's going to be right back in 1 second. And we are out of here.
Calling